Hey everybody, RetroPie guy here. Today I'm going to show you guys how to clean and restore the outside of your original Xbox console with this cleaning toolkit right here. Let's jump into it. Alright, so here we have an original Xbox console, and we're going to be scrubbing this up. So if we take a closer look at this, it's really not in tough shape, but it needs a good cleaning here. You can see there's grime and dirt caked in all of these ribs here. Same thing over here, and this surface needs a pretty good scrub, and you can see up here as well, a bunch of stuff kind of caked in there. Up at the front, not too bad, a little dusty in here where the controllers connect. A little bit around the buttons here. Let's take a look at the side. Not bad. I've been inside of this unit and it's pretty much immaculate inside, which is surprising. It looks like this was just kind of stored. You can see a lot of dirt and grime back here as well. Looks like it was just stored maybe in a basement or a garage somewhere where it definitely just collected dust for a number of years. So we're going to just go through this, do a full external cleaning on here, and I recommend if you're going to get anything wet on the surface here and you haven't taken everything inside out, you want to just make sure that you're super careful. Any water that you apply, you want to wipe it away pretty soon after. So I'm going to use this microfiber towel. I'm actually going to use a couple of these. I've got some Dawn soap in here with some really hot water. And I'm going to actually start with this larger scrubber right here. So I'm going to just put it inside the water here. I'm going to get all the excess water that I can off of there. And I'm going to just give this a little scrubbing like this. And ideally you do want to take everything apart, but in this case I've been inside of it. I know that there's really not much to worry about. I'm just going to be careful not to let water seep in anywhere. So up on the top, pretty well sealed, and I'm not really putting much water on it at all. The majority of this is soap suds. So I like to go in circular motions, and then go in around the sides, and then just wipe it away. You can see, big difference already. We're just going to keep doing that. And make sure that you reapply this in the soapy water. Wipe away the excess, and do this square now over here. And this big brush, is good for just surface areas like this. It's works pretty well actually on the ribs here too, which we're going to do in a second. I just want to give this a once over on the top before we jump into the sides. You can see I'm actually drying up here, so I'm just going to reapply, take off the excess, wipe it up. Wipe it away. Don't let water sit on here. You just don't want to run into issues where it seeps in through a crack or anything like that. And since this isn't bad, that's why I've chosen to not really open it up and get too, involved in this. It just has dirt and dust and whatnot. So it's really not in tough shape. So that's the majority of this. We are going to wipe that over again, but let's get started on these ribs here. So I'm actually going to start with this, and then I'm going to switch over to another one in a second. So since the bristles are long here, it does get in these grooves quite nicely. And I'm just going with each of these little channels here, just giving them a quick little wipe through. I'm going to wipe away the excess. Now you will see that there's still some soap suds in here. That's where these other tools come in place. We have a bunch of different options here with this particular setup. All these little thin ones, each of these is going to work just fine to get in there. But I want to show you guys this one. This is the most valuable one, in my opinion, because of the width here. All we have to do is take a microfiber towel here, wrap it around, and it goes inside each of these perfectly. And as long as you have it angled so it tapers off here, I'm able to jump in here and it goes literally right to the edge and shines these up beautifully. So I usually do a couple, then just reposition it because the microfiber towel will get dirty, especially with something as grimy as this particular console here on the surface. Perfect. The other thing is, if you had anything caked up, now this is all pretty much dust in here, and I can see just looking at it that it's all pretty much gone. If you had like grime and like hard dirt caked up in here, which, believe it or not, does happen quite a bit. All you do is just take it like this, cruise along this little channel here, and you will be able to loosen everything up, and then you could, you know, put some spray solution in there, or, you know, give it another clean like we're doing here. So now another brush that I want to point out is this one right here. I love this one because it's got the short bristles here, which are a little bit stronger than that of this one here. These are longer, so they sweep more than they scrub. This also has this little piece up here on the top, which gets you into those little harder to reach areas, like down here on the tip, or down here in these thinner areas. So the big one actually worked really nicely in here. So I'm just gonna go along that back channel. I saw there's a little bit more stuff there. And then we're gonna take this one here again, wrap it up inside my microfiber, and run it down this channel here. And then we'll just go down each one of these ribs. And at this point, we're just trying to get away the grimy spots and dirt and all that stuff. We're going to give this a good polishing at the end, but for right now, just trying to get all of the hard to reach dirt and all that. So this side is looking pretty good. I'm going to bring that up so you guys can see. See how it, with the light there, shines really nicely. A couple spots in there that I see that aren't as shiny. They just need to be polished up. They're not dirty or anything. They just have a couple little spots on them. There's a couple little white blemishes up here on the top, which I could go like this all day and they're not going to come out with this. So I'll show you what we hit those with. But for this step, we're just going to work on getting all of that dirt out. This side's pretty bad. You can see pretty dirty in there. So I haven't even reapplied soapy water to this one. I'm just trying to get it wet at this point. And there's really no water that's going to seep in anywhere. Just putting the tiniest amount on. So just giving it a quick little once over first. We'll reapply, get a little bit of excess off there. And I'm just going to go down that side channel. And if you find that you put too much water, like this one, got a little bit too much, just wipe it away. You just want to make sure that you don't get all this water running down the side where it can actually seep into the inside of this unit, which hasn't happened yet. I'm really careful to make sure that it doesn't happen as well. Now we could take some of these other ones here and just kind of go through as if we were painting down those channels. Same thing with the ribs. So that took all of the soap suds out. Just going to wipe the end with my microfiber. And now I'll go through with this guy again, wrap it up, and slide it through. Just the perfect size to go down these channels. And I flip it over just to make sure that the microfiber material is fresh. So I'll show you guys, it's looking really good now, nice and cleaned off, really shiny too. But there are a couple little spots, you can see here, some little white blemishes on here, scuff marks. I didn't do this back one, let me do that quick, but little scuff right here, which is white, so somebody hit it with something white, and then we pointed this out before, some scuffs up here on the top of the ribs. So let me just hit that spot right there real quick. Just a little grime in the back channel there on that little triangular piece. I'm just using another one of these brushes up here just to get in there. Once it's wet, all that dust comes right out really easily. And we'll grab our little piece right here, which is still in the microfiber. Just run down that channel back and forth. Shine it up real nice. All right, so we have these couple little spots here. Now, typically I don't recommend using a magic eraser on something like this with a matte finish because it's going to almost sand it down and it's going to make it just like a little less shiny. But I have a solution that's going to bring back the shine that I'm going to coat on here, so I'm not too worried about it. Just make sure that whatever you use to take off these scuffs isn't overly abrasive where it's going to sand down the finish or dull it in any way. So here I have a Magic Erase scrubber, and I'm just going to actually coat one little corner with some water, just like that. If you use this while it's wet, it's going to be less abrasive and it's going to scuff up your surface a lot less. Again, I'm not too worried about it because I am going to be coating this and refinishing the surface. So I'm just going to hit this little spot right here where there's some white. It should come off relatively easy, and it's already off. So I'll wipe it away. You can see up front in the front there's no scuff mark anymore. It just came right off. There's a little bit on the face of it, which I'm going to get so I don't forget it when I go to do the front. Wipe it away. And we're good to go there. Now, where was the other one? There's another one right here, pointed out up close. You can see right here on the tip of the triangle there. Same thing with the wet side. All right, so I just went really soft on here. You don't want to really, go crazy trying to scrub away. Just kind of go in little small motions. And if you hit it in circles, different directions, I find that it really works really nicely to get away any of the scuff mark that's on there. It's pretty much perfect there. I'm just going to dip this and just apply that and then go to the dry side here. And if you need to do a little extra buffing with the microfiber, go ahead and do so. There's no chance of this scuffing anything up as long as you don't have anything kind of embedded in the surface of it. All right, so we got that scuff mark off. What else do we have? We had a scuff mark over here now. So I'm gonna actually zoom in on this portion of it. All right, so scuff marks are right here. I'm just gonna rub this back and forth. It's a little bit too wet there, so I'll switch over to the dry side. It's just gonna rub into the water here, so you're not going to end up with too much. And if you notice that it's starting to go down the side, just take one of your brushes here and just wipe it up like that. You can always just wipe the excess on any of your rags or right on your sponge there. Wipe this off, see how we did. And since these are so glossy, much glossier than the matte finish over here, it comes right off. So you can see I have a little bit of soap suds in that channel. Just gonna brush it out like that. We are going to polish this surface up, so I'm not worried about going crazy just yet. See a little spot right up there. A wet spot. And we'll wipe away. That took care of that little spot there. Just gonna take one of our brushes to get the soap suds out of there. We're pretty much good to go up here on the surface. Everything is looking pretty nice. Zoom out so we can see everything together. So there we go. Everything up here is looking good. I'm going to just do the same thing now to all the different sides here. I'll speed this process up so I'm not boring you guys with tears. But before I do speed it up, just these little spots here. Just go ahead and take one of your dry brushes and just kind of brush in there, and you'll free up any of the dust that's just sitting. Typically the dust is just going to be sitting on like the ledge right here. You see that port 2 there is pretty dirty. Everything else is pretty clean. Just go in there. You don't want to do this with a wet brush at all. And now I should balance this. Should balance it up like that so you guys can see a little better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my microfiber towel and I'm going to go back to my favorite tool there, which is right here. Just going to put it in there like we were doing before on those front channels or the ribbed areas. And I'm just going to circle through here. It's nice and thin where we're not actually going up into where the connections are made or anything like that. It's non-evasive. I'm not being invasive or anything like that. I'm just circling around the inside of these ports where the connection gets made. That's where the dust seems to cake up and just kind of sit mostly in the bottom there. And I'll do the same thing over here on the second one, which was the dirtiest, and then the first as well. So if I angle this down, you'll be able to see in there, and they are perfectly cleaned out now. There's no dust or grime anywhere in here. And then same thing, you can see, that's all just from doing this. Really was quite dirty, and it was more dirty than it even looked, just to the naked eye there. So just gonna do the same thing here along each of these grooves. All of this front piece here are pretty clean, so not at all worried about any of this. And then down here as well, there's some little ventilation down here. If you want to just circle through those, it certainly isn't going to hurt to do that. Any grooves throughout here, along any of the edges, I just like to, do the same sort of thing. Put it in here like that and just run it down the edges. You'd be surprised how much dirt is sitting on those little edges, even if you don't see any, just looking at it. Now I do have a little scuff up here. I'm gonna do the same thing, just gonna hit that. Not even applying water or soap, just rubbing my magic eraser over it, wiping away the excess, and it's looking pretty good. Gonna go over to the side here. So now if you take a look at the side here, this is where you don't want to go crazy. You don't want to get this wet. You don't want to put any soap or any water on this part. I recommend just wiping it down, same way we were wiping it down so far, just by taking our microfiber, grabbing our trusty little tool here, wrapping it up, and then just going down each of these. Now if it's real dirty, obviously take it apart. Give the inside a good scrubbing, clean it up proper. I actually have been inside here, as I mentioned earlier, and there's nothing dirty inside. Everything is pristine, so I'm not worried about it. You can see right in there, there's no dust caked up or dust bunnies of any kind. I'm just literally just going through here with just the dampness of this from past wipe downs, and I'm able to just clean this up really nicely. It's already shining, but you'll see once we recoat this how amazing it actually looks in the end. So everything's good here. Just gonna get in that little groove. Saw one little dust fragment there. Everything's looking good here. So I've just switched this over now to the other side. Again, you can see right in there, nothing, no dirt or grime of any kind. So same deal. We're just gonna wipe it down here with this, wrapped around this little tool in here. The other thing you could do, of course, is you can hit it with the brush. This little one here comes in handy for getting in there if you actually did have something that needed to be swept out or whatever, or just, dust. This is a great tool because it gets in there perfectly in these ridges, but any of these will work. I mean, you can use this one here, same deal. Just make sure that you're not adding water because, especially at this angle, it will seep directly inside of here. So just going to do the same deal. Wrap this guy up and just go down each of these. And this is already damp from past wipe downs, so I don't need to, reapply any water or anything like that. Just going to work my way down each of these grooves, and that's it. Across the edge. And here, I will point out, got a little ding here. Looks like somebody might have just dropped this. Doesn't look like they dropped it from any significant height, but definitely has little scuff marks over here, a little bit of damage. Really not too visible. You can see it just a little bit there. Very minor. We're just going to grab a little bit of our soap and water here. We're just going to buff that by hand with the microfiber. Just put a little water on here, and then I'll grab my dry erase. It's not going to fix any indents or anything like that to the surface, but it will get away anything that may be on there from the surface that this actually bumped up against. So you can see it's browned up a little bit there. Nothing crazy. Now you can see a little bit clearer that there's the ding right there. Just gonna wipe it away here. We're pretty much good. We have the back to do. The back is just dusty. You can see a little bit of dust in here, but again, I've had this open. The ventilation behind here is perfectly clean, so it's just dust that's sitting inside there. So this would be a good example of, we have this little brush here that comes with it. It's like a paintbrush. You can get in there, just kind of free up anything. If you need, something a little bit more durable, you can just brush it with this. Get in there, and then of course our final step, always grabbing this piece, wrapping it up. Make sure you're using a clean portion of your microfiber every time, but just getting in there and giving it a good wipe down. And we can get this wet if we need to, just not soaping or sopping wet, because we don't want it to be dripping in here at all. So pretty dusty in there. This was a fresh little spot. Here you can see perfectly clean on all sides. We'll do just 2 rows, and I'll show you how this comes out. That was a short row, so let me do each of these little ones here. And I'm not going too far down, I'm just doing the little surface area. Pretty dirty. Now, another thing that this comes in handy for is this is a really tight area around our power supply port. So this is what we're going to use, again, wrapped up in there. And we can just get this a little bit wet if we need to. I don't recommend dipping this into the water if possible. Just take a brush, dip it like this into your soapy water, wipe away your suds, and just dab it on the edge here. That way you can control how much is actually on there. And we're just going to go around this little area, just like so. And that will get all the dust out of those little tiny grooves that otherwise would be impossible to actually get dust around. Now, no water has touched the actual prongs here for the power supply. Nothing has gone anywhere near there. Everything has just been on the outside. And I want to stress that because I know somebody on here is going to be saying, you're getting water way too close to the power supply port. You're getting water too close to all these vents. There's no excess water anywhere on here, so nothing is at risk at all. Other thing we can do, we've gone through there. I'm gonna give this one last brushing, and this is a little bit wet from what we put on there, but not wet enough where it's going to drip or anything of the sort. Now, same thing again. Give it a good wipe. Rewrap this and go down to each of these. Alright, and I'll show you down in here. Everything is really shiny and clean now. I do have one little blemish right there I want to take care of. So I'm going to just apply a little bit of water to that specific area. And I'm going to grab my magic eraser, which is already wet, and just kind of go back and forth on there. Seems to be a little bit more stubborn than the other ones. And you can see, totally removed that. So I've got a little bit of soap suds in here. I'm just going to brush them out real quick and then wrap my little tool in there again just to make sure everything's 100% dry. And we're pretty much good. Came out really nice. No blemish or scuff mark at all anymore. So I'm going to put this face up like we started. You can see it looks really clean and crisp here. But the final touch that I want to do to every bit of the surface, top, bottom, back, front, all of that, is I'm going to show you guys this solution that I have that's going to recoat this and just make it 100% shiny again. You just want to make sure everything's fully dry, which it is as long as I stop touching it there from my gloves. This is the solution I want to show you guys. This is Follow Win Ultimate Plastic Restorer. And this one is particularly meant for black surfaces. There's a couple different versions. There's a clear one out there. I'll put a link in the description of this video. But this works on anything plastic, not just game consoles. But I find this to be absolutely amazing. So I want to show you guys exactly how this works. I'm just going to shake it up briefly. I'm going to open it up here. It's got this little plastic protective cover on it, which you're going to reuse, so don't toss it out. Just slide your fingernail under there, pops out like this. Now you're not going to pour this directly onto anything, so just make note of that. It comes with this little sponge here. There's a black side, and then there's a foam side here, which is yellow. I'm just going to go directly to the black side. Just going to seal it so nothing can come out, and just flip it 2 times. Gets the little area wet there, and we just simply coat it like this. You can see I'm getting all that solution right on there. and then we just wipe it. I'm going to use a different microfiber, just side to side like this. And you can see the big difference here, just from here to here. This is fully dry now, but let me pick this up so you can see. You can see exactly where I stopped. The lines right here and right here. So this is done, this is not done. So let's do the entire spot. And you don't have to use this sponge if you don't want to. You can use just a regular microfiber towel or whatever you want to use there. Just make sure that you wipe away the excess like so. And that looks pretty good there. So I'm going to do the entire surface everywhere, and I'll show you the end result here. Alright, so there you can see this is the top. Really nice and shiny all throughout. All right, so we are all set. Everything is pristine now. Take a look at that. Really nice and glossy throughout. Just a big difference on the overall finish. We'll take a look at the front here. Try to adjust it so you can see different areas. Really nicely done. Nice shimmer to everything. Take a look at the side. Take a look at the back. Really nicely done. And we'll take a look over here at the other side of that. Perfect. So everything, again, really nicely restored, brought back to its original finish and look with that matte yet somewhat glossy black finish. Alright, so as you can see from this video, really straightforward and quite easy to actually clean your original Xbox console. However, I do recommend opening it up if you notice on the sides that there's a lot of buildup with dust or dust bunnies and stuff like that. You definitely want to get in there and clean everything out. You don't want to just spray air into it. All that's going to do is actually push it deeper into your console. So if you see any signs like that, that there's dust or anything of the sort, go ahead and open up your console, but this video is just for if you're trying to clean the surface of it. So really straightforward process though, and these tools make it so easy to get into all the nooks and crannies, and especially with an original Xbox console, you have all these independent channels that you have to worry about, and obviously the controller and power supply ports as well that are just prone to collecting dust. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that with this process, feel free to hit me up in the comment section below. Always happy to help you guys out any way I possibly can. But that's going to do it for today. You know the drill. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful today. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop for everything RetroPie Guy here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.